Welcome in your first theory lecture in Foundation of 2D Design. Today we are going to discuss the design basics. So what are design basics? First of all, we are going to discuss the design definition. After that, we are going to see the creative problem solving. We are going to see the differences between the design and art. Last thing, we are going to discuss the design process. So, design definition. I want you all to think about what makes your phone a good design. Some of you might say that it has a brilliant color display. So maybe the screen of your phone has displays colors and images in a very high definition. It might also fit in your pocket. Some of you would say that the size of your phone has, very good proportion, and it can fit perfectly in your hand or in your pocket or bag. Also, some of you might think about the use of the phone. It is easy to use. You can easily switch it on or off, and also you can easily see the applications inside your phone. Others might discuss the camera of the phone. It has a good, it could take photo in a very high definition, and also it could record videos. Others might say it is easy to access to the internet. So to design meaning to plan, to organize. You can never design anything without planning or organizing your thoughts and your ideas. So we can see the design in a common type of form or of designs. For example, in architecture, designing and engineering building and structures, interior design, landscape design, which is designing the area that surrounds the building, industrial design, and lastly, fashion design. So we are going to see the creative problem solving. So the first thing I want you to think about is the broom. How does the broom develop through the years? So before, this is the first vacuum cleaner, electronic vacuum cleaner. And then the vacuum cleaner has been developed to this shape. We can see that the dust bag is being added within the body of the vacuum cleaner itself. It has been reduced in size. And then we can see that the dust bag has been embedded within the body of the vacuum cleaner itself. So developers and designers have developed, we can see that the vacuum cleaner with the presence of the bag itself. There is someone called James Dyson. He asked himself, why do we even need a dust bag in a vacuum? Is it possible that we can have a vacuum without a dust bag? So he invented a vacuum cleaner that has no dust bag. There is a certain mechanism in the body of the vacuum cleaner itself that could collect dust without the need of a dust bag. So he creates, or he thinks creatively, he thinks outside the box. Other designers, they have think about how to reduce the dust bag in the vacuum itself, but he just eliminated. He came up with a design that eliminates the bag itself. He creates a design that has no bag. So, did the invention of vacuum cleaner stop there? So, Electrolux manufacturing company asked themselves, can a vacuum be automatic? Can we create a vacuum that could automate on its own? So they have created a robot that could clean the house by itself, and we can see that design has different. The vacuum cleaner, it has completely a different size, different form. So this is how we can come up with a creative problem solutions. So creative problem solving is a way of solving problems or identifying opportunities when conventional thinking has failed. So if we are going to think in a very basic way, we will not gonna find the optimal solution of a problem. So it encourages you to produce an innovative solutions. Now, I want you all to think about this cup. Is it a good design or a bad design? Some of you might think that this cup would look really nice. Okay, it is, yes, outside the box. Design of it or the look of it is very different, and it is actually outside the box. But is it functional? Can anyone use this cup without spilling any liquids on it? Okay. Also this chair. It looks very different. It looks creative. But is it functional? Can someone use this chair comfortably? So, a good or a bad art? I want you all to look at these paintings. The first painting, is it a good painting or a bad painting? Some of you might say, well, it's a good painting. Others might say, it's not. Okay? Some of you would understand that this is a type of a building, okay, but it's shaded. Also, we can say that there is like a city, okay, a view of a city. Maybe there are, or these are, some types of stars or, lightning in the sky. And also the other photo, okay, we can see that this is a portrait of a woman. We can say that there are some eyes. Here's a mouth, and there is also a form of a hand. Others might say this is a very good painting, and maybe there are some others would say the opposite. They would say that this is a very bad art. Okay, so the art here, or paintings, we might understand them and we might not. So the first painting, or the first, the first photo has been drawn, or this painting has been drawn by an artist, a very famous artist called Van Gogh. Okay, it's called Starry Night. And the other painting painted by Picasso, and it costs millions of dollars. Both of them cost very, it costs very much. Okay, so the arts, it is about the expression, about the artist's expressions. It can convey a certain feelings. Others can understand it, and maybe others can't. So, when you are going to design something for people to use, you have to think of the functionality. Where art, if you are going to produce a type of art, okay, the art has a very different approach. It conveys a certain feelings or a certain expression. So you can see clearly here that there are differences between design and art. So design aims to find solution to problems. When you are going to design something for people to use, it needs to have a solution to a certain problem. Whether art is independent act of freedom, you have the complete freedom to do anything, to produce any type of art, whether it is a painting or even a sculpture. Also, design is intentional and strategic. Because you are going to design something, you have to plan, you have to organize your thoughts. Where art is intention may not always be clear or important. It's not very important to understand the artist's meaning, okay, of the painting. There are others might appreciate art, but there are also other people that might not appreciate art. Okay, and this is certainly okay. Also, design conveys information or ideas effectively. You are going to deliver or communicate a certain idea, where art might not always convey a clear or direct message. Okay, we might not understand the painting's feeling or expressions. Design has constraints such as budget, time, material, and users' need. Art can be done with fewer constraints. Okay, so design and arts, we can see that they differ. Okay, design, you need to solve a problem, whether art is just it can deliver a feeling or an expression of the artists themselves. So now we will look at the design process. So the design, in order to design something, we need a process to go through before we complete our design. So the first step is going to define the problem. You are going to understand the problem first before you are going to go to the next step. Once you have understand your problem, you are going to collect information about the problem. You are going to search about the problem itself. After that, you are going to brainstorm and analyze your ideas. And then you are going to develop the solutions. You are going maybe to build a prototype or a model for your idea. And then you are going to present your idea to others for feedback. After you take feedback from people who criticize your work, you are then going to improve your design. So the first step in design process is to define the problem. So it is impossible to solve a problem you don't understand. Identify the problem or need that the design should address is very important. Understand the project goals, constraints, and targeted audience. Constraints meaning the limitations. Limitation could be a color. For example, if your client doesn't like blue color, you cannot use blue in your designs. Also, space could be a limitation. If you have a very small space, this is a limitation in your design, that the space is really small. Also, the amount of money the client provides you with to do a design is a limitation. You cannot exceed the amount of money the client provides you with, or else your client won't be satisfied. Also, the targeted audience. You need to understand who are your clients. Audience meaning the people who are going to use your design. It could be a child, an adult, or an elderly people. Also, you have to gather relevant information and conduct research to gain insight of the problem itself. So for example, in order to define the problem, you need to meet with the clients. You need to understand their constraints, their limitation. Also, you need to see the space that they are going to provide you with. Is the space going to be very big or very small space that you need to design? You need to understand the client's insights and preferences. Is your client's, what's your client's preferences in colors? What do they like and dislikes? In order to have and to solve their design problem. So the next step after you define your problem, you need to collect information. So we will look for similar project case studies from multiple resources. So for example, if you are going to design an Italian restaurant, you need to gather information from Italian restaurants that is similar to your design or project. So how are you going to see this information? So the designer conducts research to gather inspiration from various sources like magazines, website, design book, and trend reports. And you can create a mood board or concept board to present your ideas to the client itself. You can also analyze user preferences and behaviors through surveys, interviews, and data analysis. Let's say, for example, you are going to design for visually impaired people, meaning people who cannot see. So one way of collecting information is to do a survey, and then you are going to analyze the conclusions of the survey. Also, you can interview in person with the visually impaired people to have a detailed understanding and to collect certain information from them face to face. And also, you are going to explore trends and emerging technologies in the relevant field, meaning you are going to search for the new technologies, new things that have come up in the design, and how are you going to embed or how you are going to insert it in your design. So the next step after collecting data is brainstorming and analysis. So based on the client's inputs and research, the designer develop a design concept that capture the overall theme, color palette, style, and mood board of the space. Also, concept sketches or digital renderings may be created to visualize the design. So begin to sketch, make, and study so you can start to understand how all the data and information you have collected may impact your design. Collect sketches, take photographs, and gather data to start giving you inspiration. And create thought map and ask yourself why, when, who, how, and what. And if you want to know more about thought map, you can click on this link and to have a full understanding of how you can create a mind map. After brainstorming multiple solutions, now we are going to develop the solution in this stage. So at this stage in the design process, the designer will create drawing with specific solutions for the client. So the designer might create a floor plan, layouting the furniture in a certain way, depending on the concept itself. Also, it will define the walk path throughout the space that is ready for the client to see. After you have developed your ideas, now you are ready for feedback. So express your idea in a coherent form. It is so important that your idea is organized in order to get a clear feedback. So critique will analyze and suggest ways to increase visual and conceptual impact. For example, when you are meeting with your client after you have presented your ideas, you are ready for your client to give you some feedback, to give you some comments on your work. Take note when your work is critiqued to give you an insight to understand the feedback about your work. So your client will criticize your work, and when the client is criticizing your work, it is so important for you to take notes so you don't forget the client's comment, and you can always go back and refer to your notes. So finally, improve your design. So monitor the design's performance in the real world and make updates and improvement based on user feedback and evolving needs. So now the interior design project is completed and the client is provided with a finished, functional, and aesthetically pleasing space. So after some time, the designer may follow up with the client to ensure satisfaction with the design and address any issues or concerns. Thanks a lot for listening and see you next class.